The single biggest factor in growth is progress, right? Seeing progress. And when your brain sees you're advancing your cause, it tells you, you rock, keep going, you're awesome.
In a world full of sales hacks, toxic scripts, and motivational fluff, Steve is the guy flipping the whiteboard and saying, nah, we're not doing that. Take us back to your childhood and that whole story of like, you didn't talk.
My parents, as you know, are the Costanzas from Seinfeld, right? Which is just constant yelling all fucking day. And maybe that might have been what caused it, because I was constantly yelled at and berated.
We talk about growing up with anxiety and an alcoholic father, painting with Bob Ross as a lifeline, becoming #1 at Cutco and Aflac, walking away from it all to do things the right way, and why he's now training 1 million veterans to sell with heart. What do you get when Larry David and Bob Ross have a baby who grows up to hate 99% of the sales training, but still tells the truth anyway? You get Steve Heroux, the Sales Contrarian. In a world full of sales hacks, toxic scripts, and motivational fluff, Steve is the guy flipping the whiteboard and saying, nah, we're not doing that. He's funny, he's blunt, and he's ethical to a fault. And he's here to redefine what it means to sell with integrity, while cracking a few jokes and calling out every sleazy sales tactic along the way. In this episode, we go way beyond the book and, of course, his new course that's out. But we talk about growing up with anxiety and an alcoholic father, painting with Bob Ross as a lifeline, becoming #1 at Cutco and Aflac, walking away from it all to do things the right way, and why he's now training 1 million veterans to sell with heart. Drop into this episode. You're not going to want to miss it. You're known as the Sales Contrarian.
Am I?
I feel like your book says that, right?
It does say that.
What's the actual title of the book?
The Sales Contrarian.
All right, we'll see. And I had to, I love that word contrarian because it's not a word that you hear commonly. When I first met you, I don't know, about a year ago, and I knew that you had this book, and I was like, man, what an interesting personal branding, like identity, right? An identity, because that's really what it is. The Sales Contrarian is an identity. It's really the antithesis of all these other sales gurus out there and all this stuff, and we'll get into that in a little bit, but everyone knows you, I think, from your speaking capabilities because you light up an audience, you're funny, you have this like Larry David type of humor, you're a little cynical. It just gets people laughing, it gets people chuckling, and it all makes sense, right? And so, but you are not always this full of life comedian speaker type of person, right? And so I want to rewind a little bit because I find this to be the most interesting fact about you.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's a secret. I mean, I think if anybody checks you out, you're going to, you probably tell the story a lot, but take us back to your childhood and that whole story of like, you didn't talk.
No, I mean,
I came out of the womb talking.
Oh, I know. I mean, I was flying here, right, from Ottawa with all these challenges, obviously travel, and I could hear you from fucking Ottawa. And that's not even the same country.
I've been working on how to like trim down, right? And like edit a little bit, of Benny, but you had to, you were a mute.
Literally.
Right?
Yeah,
like
mimes. They were like,
mimes.
Quiet. No, I didn't, probably from second grade, third grade to high school, nothing. Like deathly afraid of girls, was kind of book reports, which I don't even know if you're younger than me, but you ever have to do a book report?
Dude, I'm not that much younger than you. Like I'm 44, you're 48. Like, you remember? Yeah, we had to do it. Yeah. I got the Cliff Notes. Right? No, I got the Cliff Notes. You know what I mean? And I do it last minute. And
I would pretend I was sick, not go to school. Like I threw up a couple of times in the bathroom. Like that was my level of social anxiety. And so in high school, which is funny, I was telling you, in Britt about my 30th reunion coming up in 2 weeks. And when I went to my 10th reunion, people were like, oh, Steve, what are you doing now? And I'm like, oh, I run a sales team. And they're like, what? You're Steve Heroux, right? I'm like, yeah. And I did not say a word. No dates, no dances, no prom. Nothing. Deathly afraid of people.
Where did that come from? Have you ever traced that back to anything? Like, why do you think that was?
I don't know. Because my parents, as you know, are the Costanzas from Seinfeld, right? Which is just constant yelling all fucking day. And maybe that might have been what caused it, because I was constantly yelled at and berated, and maybe I just
You couldn't get a
did
word.
the opposite.
Well, you couldn't get a word in anyway.
That might have been possible. And when I went to college, I same issues, right? I'm like, man, I don't want to be around people. I was so nervous, and so when I ended up in my first job, which we'll talk about, the Cutco knife thing, and
Yeah.
it just, that was sort of the switch for me when I started doing that. That was, and I can trace it back to an exact moment that happened to me in Pennsylvania.
What would, if that young, anxious Steve could see you today and see you now and was looking at, the last even 5 years of your life, traveling the country, speaking with confidence, what do you think that young Stevie would say to you?
I don't think he would even realize that was the same person. There's no chance I would ever think I would be a speaker, an author, whatever, whatever you call what I do. I mean, it's zero chance, right? This is why it's so funny going back. And when I, unfortunately, my uncle passed away in May, and he's one of the inspirations behind the Million Veteran Mission. And so when I went to his funeral, and ironically, my best friend growing up and my uncle died on the same day.
Wow.
So I had to choose whose funeral to go. I mean, it's pretty bad, right?
Yeah.
So Johnny and Uncle Charlie. When I went to the funeral, there's a bunch of cousins I hadn't seen in a long time. And, we talk on Facebook, but they kept coming up to me and they're like, Stevie, we are so proud of you that you're famous. And right, I'm like, I'm famous because I got 3 likes on a Facebook post.
It's 3 more than they got.
To them, right? They see that, oh my God, we're so proud of you, right? Cousins I haven't seen in 20 or 30 years. And so it's just funny that they see that. And as a kid, I never even ever thought anything like that, that I would be in some sort of public eye or in front of people. I mean, it's just zero chance.
And here you are on the Big Fish Cares podcast, getting ready to tell some stories. Talk about that childhood a little bit. I know we were talking last night. I know you've shared a couple of stories about your dad, and then this whole, Bob Ross thing. I think is just very fascinating, and I think that we have to mention it at least. And so, tell me a little bit about what it was like growing up with the Costanzas as your parents, and then what you guys went through, and then how Bob Ross helped.
Yeah, I mean, obviously being constantly yelled at, which some of you know, the Costanzas. Again, George just can't even have to deal with his parents, right, for more than a couple of hours. But still love you, Mom and Dad. But still dreading, right? I got to go to Florida to see them for Thanksgiving. And I already know 3 minutes after they pick me up, we'll be in a fight in the car about something, that I didn't close the door right, or I didn't put the seatbelt on fast enough, or whatever. So growing up, it was constant yelling. And I still remember one of the moments that changed my life and what I still remember today. And my dad used to drink, and, we know a lot of folks that have alcohol and drug issues. And Christmas Day, I got a remote control car, radio control car. And I'm out, it's in Boston, snow, ice, whatever. I just want to go play with it. So I go outside, racing it up and down the street in front of my grandmother's house. My dad comes out. He's like, Stevie, get inside. I'm like, Dad, I just got the car. He's like, now. I'm like, I don't want to. So he came out to try to grab the car. And I'm just being a little jerk, 11 years old, 12 years old, driving it like through his legs. He couldn't get it, right? So so then I ended up skidding out, and it stopped like right in front of him. And he lifted his foot up and crushed it, like destroyed it. And I was destroyed. So I start crying, go and tell my mom, my dad just crushed my car, blah, blah, blah. And I remember her standing at the front door and my dad out there. And then he came up and she was like, so my dad's name is Steve, and like, Steve, if you don't quit drinking today, you will never see us again. Like, just like that. And so my dad quit, and, he's close to 40-ish years, sober, in that range, right? He quit, then, whatever. Yeah. But, and that was inspiring for me to see him quit. And he would always be going to meetings, right? And everything was a meeting, right? That's what he used to call it, not AA, right? Everything's meetings.
And they're still the Costanzas, though. Like, right? Like it was like the whole, but even just about like all the banter around the AA meetings and all the stuff or whatever he's got going on, and your mom's probably making fun of him half the time.
It's just it's constant noise, so that's probably why I was so quiet. But you know, love him for what he's done and always worked hard, right? That's what we were talking about, right? 18 hours a day as truck drivers. That's why I work my ass off. But he never misses a meeting. And that's, as some of you all know who are listening, right? You can't miss. Like, it's discipline. Like, if you miss one, you might relapse. One of the best things I saw for those of you guys that deal with, you know, drug and alcohol abuse, some of you old people remember Headbangers Ball on MTV. And
now you're dating yourself.
Yeah, Ricky Rackman. So this guy, Ricky Rackman, and I follow him on Instagram, and he used to host Headbangers Ball, but he quit drinking, you know, 30 years ago. And what he said is very poignant. He said, I just tell myself I'm not going to drink today. And he said it's worked for 30 years. So it's just not about, oh, I can't even imagine stopping drinking or doing any of these other vices. He just tells himself, today I'm not going to drink. And so that's sort of what my dad did, why he never misses meetings. And so even though that happened, again, it's not him that did that, right? It was probably, again, some other factor. So, yeah, I still remember that vividly.
How did Bob Ross come into the picture?
Right after that, I think it was calming for my dad trying to find something, right, to fill his time. So we would start watching Bob Ross on TV, and we learned how to paint. So I have 3 paintings in my house, right, that my dad did that look exactly like Bob Ross. Just like when you're moving art last night, and you and Britt, I go, that's Bob Ross. I can tell in 2 seconds, right? So, and he still paints today because of that. But Bob he's just such an inspiration, my favorite human to ever exist.
He was like the first influencer. He was like the OG influencer for guys that are 50 years old right now.
He is. I told the story yesterday in Canada. If social media were around when Bob Ross was alive, he'd have 1 billion followers. 1 billion. 1 billion. Like his brand is more popular today than when we were kids, and he's been gone 30 years. So we talk about this a lot because he's the inspiration of it's not, you know, the process, right? Anybody can tell you what to do, but it's how you teach a process. And Bob is such a legend. How do you get 10, 20 million people to paint when they have absolutely no fucking interest in painting? I mean, it's unbelievable what he did. And people were fixated to the TV, and 3% of his audience painted. 97% could not paint or draw a stick figure.
We just wanted to listen to, what's he called? Happy Trees?
Happy Trees.
Yeah. Like, I just like listening to him. Like, I mean, I could listen to.
Now he's the king of ASMR. I mean, people take naps with him. I have 2 quick stories I'll tell you. One in Kansas City, because I mentioned Bob almost in every talk I give. And this woman came up at the end and she's like, Steve, can I confess something to you? I'm like, yeah. She goes, well, I have 3 big dogs, and when I go to work, they run amok, right? So she's got the cameras and all that. And she goes, I started watching Bob Ross and it was so calming. And I said, okay, that's awesome. And she goes, well, now when I'm not home, I just play Bob Ross on loop. And my dogs, it's like they're drugged.
He's like the dog whisperer.
Yes. And so she told me that a couple of weeks ago. And we have at least 3 clients now that have a plant, a shop, a warehouse, whatever, that play Bob 24/7 loop. And the entire vibe of the shop has changed. Everybody's calmer, we're more laid back, and Bob just has that effect on people. And so he's just been an inspiration, one of the nicest guys, you know, to ever exist. I mean, who else has squirrels in their pocket? And this is the most amazing human. So him and Larry David, 1A, 1B.
Well, that's why I said, like, if Larry David and Bob Ross had a baby.
Yeah, I'm it.
You're the baby.
2 dads. Yeah.
My 2 dads.
My 2 dads. That would be my 2 dads. Yeah.
Tell me about, like, after you got out of high school, right? And then, you know, you were in my house, and I have a big relationship with, you know, John Rulin and the whole giftology. And John's still the #1 Cutco salesperson of all time, and they're still getting sales, right? Yeah. and you sold Cutco.
Yeah.
And tell me a little bit about that story, because I think that story of when you went to tell your dad, and do you do this in every talk that you give?
Not every, but people ask, and if they know about it, you got to tell them.
It's the best story. So a lot of my audience probably doesn't even know who you are. So this is all going to be fresh for them.
Yes.
So this is going to be good.
So got to a really expensive business school in Boston called Bentley. Bentley's now a university. So when you're becoming a university now, you can charge 90 grand, right, instead of 60. So I got my first semester of books, and I bought, I think it was 6 books for $1,600. And I was like, I'm sorry, what? So my parents gave me a credit card, and that was maxed out, right? So my first thought was, I'm going to bankrupt my parents, right? Again, dad drove trucks. Mom was an administrative assistant at a bank, so we had no money. So I'm like, I got to get a job, right? I got to help pay for college. So nobody would hire me. Again, who hires a fucking deaf mute, right? So I'm like, I'll do a warehouse job. Like, is anything in accounting? I'll do whatever. So I'm walking around campus, and they have these flyers. I don't know if you ever saw these. This is how Cutco Vector Marketing used to market, right? It's litter campuses, right, with flyers. And the flyer said $10 an hour or per appointment, whatever their thing was, a part-time job and a phone number, right? That's it. But they were littered. So I'm like, what is this? So I call the number. I say, hey, saw this flyer at school. It's like for a job. What is this job? And the lady goes, it's sales. And I'm like, so would I have to like talk to anybody? Or she's like, yes. What's wrong with you? I go, oh, don't you have like a desk job or something? And she goes, no. I said, well, what would I be selling? She goes, we'll let you know when you get down here. So you know the whole thing. So I go down there. There's like 5 of us in the room, 6 of us in this group interview, right? And of course, you know, the very rigid hiring processes, right? With Cutco, are you breathing? And, you know, do you have $150? So I got hired.
That's how I got into car sales.
Yeah,
the same type of way.
And it's funny because all of you Cutco people that are listening, you know this, they save the worst candidate for last. So if there's 6 people in a room, they want to get the good ones out first, so the bad ones can't influence them. So they would all take the best candidate first. So I went 6th, if that tells you anything. So I got hired. So I went home, and my dad's like, how'd it go, Stevie? I'm like, oh, it went great. He goes, you get the job? I go, yes, sir. He goes, what are you going to be doing? I said, I think I'm going to sell knives. My dad, very much in his Frank Costanza, very uplifting, supportive, right, voice, he said, are you a fucking moron? I go, sorry, what? He goes, Stevie, don't be a schmuck. We got to sell knives to? You don't even talk. I'm like, I don't know, like the neighbors or something. He goes, don't be an idiot. Go get a regular job. I don't want to hear another word. So I'm like, all right, fine. Hey, Ma, can I have $150 for this knife thing? And as you know, you had to buy the sample. I don't think you have to do that now. So, of course, my mom gives me the $150, and that was freshman year of college. And by senior year, my second semester senior year was #1 in the country. So, you know, a lot of people say all the time, like, oh, she's born to be in sales. He's born to be in sales. Like, that's complete BS. I'm the last person that would ever be successful in sales. And so it taught me a lot. And maybe my first year in the summer, this is in Lancaster, not far from here.
Yeah.
The Cutco conventions, right? So all these kids would come.
It's like Amish country.
Yeah, Amish country. Yeah. The first time I saw horse and buggy.
Yeah.
So Al DiLeonardo, who's still president of Cutco now, he goes, hey, Steve, you're giving a talk. I'm like, to hell I am. He goes, no, you're going to give names and uses, right? How you use each knife, right? I'm like, Al, I'm not doing that. He goes, you're doing it. So I swear, when he announced me, like he had to come and get me from the side of the stage. I feel like there were drag marks right in the wood, him pushing me onto the stage. And I probably stood behind that lectern. I probably didn't move didn't move an inch. And the talk was probably 10 minutes. It felt like 10 hours. So I get off the stage, and there's this whole line of people there. And I'm like, oh, is this a food line? Is it a buffet or whatever? I don't know what to do, right? And they're like, what do you mean? I go, what's this line for? I'm like, we want to talk to you. There's all these kids, right, lined up, and some really pretty girls, because no girl would ever talk to me. So I'm like, maybe this speaking thing is not that bad. So that one moment, my fear of speaking and being in people almost dissipated.
Yeah.
Because I saw how many lives like I impacted, and all I did was tell people what I did, and they were like, I never thought you could cut a tomato with a salmon knife. I mean, this is the shit that gave me joy. Of like, yeah, dude, this is how you do it. And like, so that's sort of what put, this like, oh, maybe you do have some value, right, to other humans, which I thought I had zero from age 1 to 19.
You also had a stint at that duck company.
Yeah.
The Aflac.
Yeah.
Almost
14 years.
14 years.
Almost, yeah.
So you went from kind of Cutco to Aflac, right?
No.
Well, there's a cafeteria job in there somewhere. Tell me about isn't there a cafeteria thing?
I sold Cutco freshman, sophomore, junior year.
Uh-huh.
Then all my friends are like, dude, you work too much. You're like, I want to just be a college kid, right? So my first semester, senior year, I stopped, right? And then I'm like, I got to do something. Like maybe I was get a regular job. So I got a job at the cafeteria. My asshole friends would come and purposely spill stuff right on this. So I had to clean it up. I had to wear a hairnet.
Oh, wow. No wonder you didn't get no girls.
Well, yeah. I'm like, what am I doing? Like, and I never forget this. I worked 2 weeks. I worked my butt off in a hot kitchen. It sucked. I got my check. It was $88. Okay. For 2 weeks of work. I'm like, I used to make this in 10 minutes, right? Going to somebody's house and getting cookie and tea and, they buy a bunch of knives. So I quit that after a month.
Why did you stop selling knives?
I just wanted to just be screw off and be a college kid,
gotcha.
and, not be in business.
Yeah, yeah.
I just figured get a regular job, and that was a horrible decision.
So I want the people to understand as we listen to Steve's kind of storyline, whether you have a child or whether this is even your story, of like trying different things and moving through different periods of your life are all setting you up for where you're at today and into the future, right? Because and this path still exists. I mean, like you can still go sell Cutco.
Oh, sure.
You could still technically go work in the cafeteria if you want and get your head kicked in. And you can then also go sell the insurance stuff.
Oh, and there were in between that, right? Going back to selling Cutco's senior year. And then through the summer and leading sales teams for them. And then when you sell knives in people's houses, right, you'll sell to somebody's husband or wife or whatever. And sometimes they're like, oh my God, you are so great. You need to go talk to my wife, or you need to go talk to my husband or whatever. So I got talked into, the first job was cars. So I got talked into selling cars, and I'm like, all right, maybe I'll try this, very much like Larry David, the car salesman. It's an amazing episode of Curb. But I'm like, let me see if I can sell cars. And it's everything that you hate about buying a car. It's all the same. So I worked at a dealership and everybody was an up, and it's like,
I remember
that. Idiots. They're a person. You wonder why people hate buying cars, because they're dehumanized. But anyway, I think I was either the top or the second top sales guy my second month at the dealership. And maybe I sold 30 cars or something. And I still remember the GM, Drew. And he's like, what is this, dude? What are all these people? I'm like, what do you mean? Who are these people? How are you getting these deals? Referrals? That's not how we do it around here. I swear. I swear it's the bizarro world. I'm like,
because this is before internet sales.
It's 2000, around 2000.
Right when they were just starting to basically it was the year I think that car sales did start to transform into more open.
Had just come out.
Yeah,
right?
like people, there's information.
Yes.
People now know what invoice means
Correct.
and what costs are.
People would come in and they'd go, hey, Steve, listen, I've already done the research. I know I can get, it was a Honda plate. I already know I can get this Odyssey with a for 500 over invoice. I'm like, cool. Let's just, listen, I'm just going to draw some pictures on here. Just pretend we're doing this negotiation.
Because it was the Foursquare.
Right.
Did you learn Foursquare selling?
Shit, right?
I'm
just going to draw a pelican. Just make it look like we're talking, right? So strong. I'm like, listen.
That way the sales manager up in the booth is elevated.
So I distinctly remember this. We do an offer. I'm like, listen, it's 400 over invoice, right? Let's go 200 over invoice. Fine. Let's just get the deal done. Cool. We could have done deals in 1 minute. So I'd go up to Drew, right, or the other assistant GM, like, here's the deal. And they go back and offer. I'm like, you're a moron, because we're going to get to their number. It's going to take a fucking hour. They're going to be pissed, but it will be this number you just crossed off. So why don't you just uncross this and let's just get the deal done and make this a good experience for them? Nope. Let me come over. Oh, he comes over, pulls the chair up, right? Me and this guy, we're both fucking. So we get down to the number, except the dude's pissed. Like, what? It's still the same. So
you think they still do it that way? Do they? I haven't, like, I have such a relationship with our dealer that we just, like, whatever he tells me, I just buy it. Like, I don't really, like, have the time for all that. I just did it. I just leased a new one. And after my experience, the GM came over and he's like, bro, what is this? I'm like, yeah, one for the good guys this time, pal. Because I know how it all works. I rake them over the call. Anyway, and he's like, thank God all the customers aren't like you, right? And I'm like, I didn't really want to say anything. But I have not heard from the guy that sold me the car. It's just transactional, right? Which just drives me crazy. And so I bought, my third month, I bought a Nissan Altima out of spite. I was selling Hondas. I drove up and Drew was out there. He goes, what the fuck is that? I go, it's my new car. He goes, what are you doing? I go, what do you mean? It's a Nissan. I go, I know. He just walked away. And I quit that day. He still owes me $1,000 because I won one of those spiffs. Oh, yeah.
I hit the phone. And right, he still never paid me. So, Drew, you owe me $1,000. But yeah, so that was cars. Then I went and sold Northwestern Mutual Insurance for also maybe 3 months. And we used to have a morning meeting every morning at 7:30, which is basically, hey, we're going to abuse you for half an hour. So I would sit in my car. I still remember Scott too. God, Scott and Bob. I would sit in my car. I timed it, how long it would take me to get from my car to the front door of the conference room. And it was like 67 seconds. So I would not leave my car until 7:58, 53, because I did not want to spend 1 extra second with these people. And sometimes I would sit in my car and hope that a bomb hit the building or that it was a nuclear war.
So it's safe to say it wasn't a level 10 meeting.
No, it was no level 10.
Like a negative level 10.
It was a level 10 of abuse. So I somehow lasted 2 months there. And then I went to a job fair, and the last booth was Aflac. And so Dan, I remember he looks at my resume and he goes, you made money selling Cutco knives. I'm like, yes, sir, a lot of it. They saw the number one thing in college. He goes, you can do Aflac. And I go, I don't even know what Aflac, what is it? Insurance? I don't know, what is it? He goes, listen, none of that matters. When can you start? So that was my interview with Aflac, and spent 14 years there in the middle of my career. Yeah, right around maybe 2013, 14, I ended up number one in the country in new accounts out of like 60,000 people. So I'm like, all right, maybe I'm
just doing it yourself. Like, you weren't really teaching or training people. You were just doing it yourself, right?
I did start as an agent, and then I built teams. It's funny, I'm still friends with a lot of these people to this day.
When did you realize, because I know you as like the trainer, keynote, that type of person, like you're not actually selling stuff anymore. You're just helping people learn how to sell stuff, which I think is cool. More people need to do that, because there's not a lot of ethical sales trainers and sales people out there. So unfortunately, that's kind of a thing that's needed. But when did you realize that you were actually not just good at sales, but you were good at leading teams, you could teach, and kind of like change the game for you? Like, when was that?
It was probably Cutco gave me the first sense of that.
Like when those people came up to you.
That was the first
after the talk. You're like, ooh, I like this. This feeling's better than selling on housewife a knives, set of knives, right?
Yeah, way better. And then when they said, hey, we want you to talk at the Monday morning or the Monday meetings or whatever, like, oh, you're in the Key Club, all these little things, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, I like teaching my friends how to do this stuff. And, as you go on and you do talks or you do trainings in your office or whatever, and you can see how you impact people. And so that's how it started. And it was the same with Aflac when I started having success, and they would put me in front of the the meeting and go, hey, Steve, talk about what you do when you do an employee presentation, or how do you do your friends and family referral thing? And I all the stuff I learned, like from Cutco, how to get referrals, like I still use that today. I used it in Aflac, and it's funny when I have kids come over, or my friends' kids are now selling Cutco or whatever. They're like, can I send them over? I'm like, dude, I have every fucking knife you could ever imagine, but I'll
What'd you do with the extra knife I sent you?
I haven't.
I just did that for fun because I knew you were a Cutco guy. So I'm like, do you have the new knife? I'm like, I don't know if they're different.
No, I love them, and I still buy stuff because you got to help these kids.
Yeah,
it's still like the same.
What's the you said something about how to get referrals. What's one thing if someone's listening right now, how can they ask for a referral? How do they get more referrals?
Oh, it's funny. The Cutco one, which was sort of by accident, I think, maybe I figured it out, but in the Cutco world, you probably know this. So we'd sell a set of knives, and then we'd have these points, right? That you could give away stuff that had a point value. So you'd say, hey, Benny, if you get the homemaker set, I'll throw in the, super shears, which we love, right? Or people loved this vegetable peeler. I mean, they love it. I still have it, right? It's amazing. So anyway, I realized that they loved this peeler. So they would buy like an $800 set of knives just to get the peeler for free. So I'm like, this peeler is gold. So I'm like, what else could I get for this? So what I ended up doing, instead of trading one sale for one peeler, I traded referrals for the peeler. So I ended up buying like 100 peelers at a time or whatever. I'd have them in my trunk. And I would physically have the peeler. So
next year, Dr. Dre albums and stuff like in your mixtapes,
all of it. I had all that stuff in there, but I would physically have it so they would use it and love it. Yeah. And so then I'd say, hey, listen, Benny, I'm not going to go walk around the neighborhood, knock on doors, right? So the way I meet most of my customers, right, is through friends and family and personal introductions. And I'd say, listen, if you have a couple friends or family you think, right, I could help, would be great. But if you can jot down 100, then I'll give you the peeler.
100?
Yeah.
And you think a lot of these people had 100? Do these people have 100 people?
I would say it just like that.
Wow.
So I'd say, listen, you got 100 people in your address book, okay? And by the way, y'all,
this is back when there was actual Rolodexes.
Yeah, I know. It was an address book, right?
Yeah.
With like,
and you didn't have camera
with
phones,
like paper and a pen. And you didn't write shit down.
And you didn't have a camera phone that you could just take pictures. Like you had to like rewrite it.
Let me get my address book.
Let me go get my copier machine.
They would get their address book, and I'd say, listen, just jot down 100. Knowing they wouldn't, but I had 3 different people physically give me 100 names.
Wow.
But then I would be a joke, and I'd say, fine.
Here's the peeler.
Don't do, no.
Oh.
I would say, don't do 100. You do 20. And go, oh yeah, do 20. So I had this lined, fold up notebook that I had numbered 1 through 20, and then I had a circle around the 20. And so I just, I just hand them the pen, right? It's remarkable, right? And I just go, and then I would go, I just hand them the pen, and they would start writing.
And you would just sit there.
I had hundreds of referrals.
Wow.
And if they said, I can't do 20, like, can you do 10? All right, I'll give you 10. Every single time. And so it wasn't the way most people would ask for referrals. I was, do you know anyone that's interested? What are they, fucking Nostradamus? Like, I didn't know someone's interested in knives. So, but they might get one or two. They don't know
until they get a demo.
Oh, they might get 1 or 2 referrals. And I had hundreds and hundreds. So I did the same thing when I went to Aflac, but it wasn't the trade this, peeler. Everyone loves those ducks, right? So I hundreds of dollars worth of ducks in my trunk. Big ones, little ones, mini ones, whatever, because people had grandkids, they had kids, they had dogs love them. So I would trade a duck, right, for 3 referrals, right? But I'd call it friends and family.
Yeah.
Right? You don't call it referrals. But anyway.
So you're just creating opportunity and creating money from just asking and being a little bit creative.
And I wasn't going to knock on doors with a bag of knives. So.
Yeah.
So that's how it.
Stab someone. Yeah. What, after I feel like crushing it at Aflac and doing all you could do there, what kind of just made you decide to walk away from all of that and kind of start over?
Not getting a promotion to run part of Southern California.
Ooh.
So it's me and my buddy Mark, and Mark is a great leader that I had. He's our regional manager's like, okay, well, it's either going to be me or him. And they gave it to neither of us and brought down someone who ended up running Aflac into the ground in San Diego. And I'm like, if this is how the corporate world works, I'm out. Like, I am.
Is that the day the Contrarian started?
Close. Yep. I'm like, I'm just going to start my own thing. And so my first sort of attempt at running my own business was this thing I built called Agent Mastery. So I built an online, not online at the time, training course, right? It was on Teachable, right? When that first came out.
Yeah.
So it was me talking over horrific PowerPoint slides. Like it was bad, but apparently the content was good. So I would go and I would call all these Aflac regional managers and I'd say, hey, here's my background in Aflac. And some people knew, about me and so on. Like, hey, let me give an hour training to your agents at one of the meetings. And if they want to sign up for my Agent Mastery course, they can. And if they don't, then they don't. Do you care? And they're like, no, dude, of course. Yeah, great. Come on in. And so I had hundreds of people enroll in that. And it's funny, this is 2018, 2019. And I just called one of my enrollees, Lindsay, from 6 years ago. And she still has the voicemail that I taught her. And I was just like,
which is what?
This is amazing.
Give me the voicemail.
I can't. It's a secret.
Wait, what do you mean it's a secret? Come on, man. You can't. There's a secret voicemail out there that can help people close more deals.
I'll give you the one. I don't want to give hers away because it's pretty awesome. But the gist is, whenever you pick up the phone, hey, by the way, this is Steve. I'm probably out fishing or helping somebody right now do X, Y, Z, whatever the gist of what you do.
Here, I'm a roofing salesman. Go ahead. Give it to me. I'm a roofing salesman, so go ahead.
A roofing salesman would probably be like, hey, this is Benny. I'm probably on somebody's roof right now, or I'm probably doing X, Y, Z, right? Whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever you like to do.
Right.
Maybe it's hunting. Maybe it's fishing.
Gotcha.
Maybe it's with my kid. But you've got to personalize the message. It just can't be, hey, this is Benny Fisher. You've reached my voicemail. Yeah, no shit, because you would have picked up. It's like, what,
It's Larry David messages, Larry David coming out of it, right?
Or they'll repeat the number. Like, I know the number. I just fucking called the number. I don't need you to tell me the number. But anyway, so you just personalize a message.
Okay,
right? It's not some specific thing, but it was fun to hear that because I'm like,
it's a pattern interrupt.
Yeah,
when the homeowner, the customer, it's like they're not used to that.
It gave me so much joy to hear that message.
That's
and
good.
That's again my currency. Like, she's still doing this from 6 years ago.
That's what I was going to ask you, because like for you, it doesn't seem like it's about the money, which a lot of salespeople do things for money. Yeah. It's more about the significance and then the contribution, right? Yeah. The contribution to society. Yeah. So there's a couple of things I know about personal branding. I think everyone's building a personal brand, whether they know it or not. I don't even care if they're the stay-at-home mom right now. Like that's like everyone's building a personal brand, whether they're aware of it or not. It's just, but then there's a day when it clicks in and you're like, oh crap, this is actually who I am. Yeah. And there's actually like a thing here. And like, I need to name it. And then what was that for you when cause I think people can tell now by your stories and your comedy, they're like, you like to kind of fight the status quo and you're the antithesis of what most people are taught. So when did this word contrarian come about? Because obviously you've always been the sales contrarian for a while. Was there like a moment when you realized that there was some crappy sales training out there? Did you ever get crappy sales training?
All the time.
I mean, probably even some of the Cutco stuff was probably a little cheesy, right? Yeah. Even though we love Cutco, the knives are great. Yeah. But the sales training back in the 80s and 90s had to be.
Yeah, they made us memorize the close, right? Which is 2 pages long. And then when I practiced my first demo, right, was my Aunt Denise. And so you put the tray and then you have your blue book and then you have your script. And we're supposed to say, do you mind if I'm kind of new at this, Aunt Denise? Do you mind if I use my notes? Right. So then you do this.
That way you can read it.
Right. So you read it. And I'm reading it and I'm like, I can't do this. I can't say this. Right. It's the sales speak, right? Jargon. It's so bad.
Yeah.
I'm not even going to say. So I ripped up the script after my first demo. And
did you ever tell them that? Did they ever ask why you're so successful? Did you ever tell them, hey, it's because I threw your script away?
I told Bob. Bob was my manager. Bob LeBlanc. And
They don't care though.
no, he was
They
just
want
happy I
units.
was selling
Yeah, they
stuff.
want units.
So I didn't do any of that. So what I decided was, I'm like, I'm not going to cut up rope and leather and pennies, right? Because I didn't know a lot of people that ate currency for dinner, right? So I'm like, this is dumb. So I would go to the store, Shaw's, the grocery store up in Mass, and I would buy onions and carrots. And I had a cooler in my trunk. So I would go to the store before I would do my demos for the day, and I'd buy those things. And I didn't want to risk that if somebody didn't have food in the house because they just got back from vacation.
Yeah, like we did just yesterday.
Yeah, so I would bring carrots and onions and tomatoes. And I would just say, hey, listen, go get your knives, right? Because let's cut some stuff up. And then you can use these. Like, that was the demo.
Yeah.
They were like, oh, these are good. I'm like, I know. That was it. And so, but no, that wasn't in the demo, right? I didn't go through and,
Kind of common sense.
yeah, I didn't do that. So again, I'd always just tried to do the opposite.
When did you realize that you were the opposite? So that's what I'm saying.
Probably
I think-
around then.
Okay, so you actually then were completely aware, like, man, I'm really opposite of everything they teach in sales.
Right, and this is working
Yeah.
better, and it feels good because when I was saying their words, I didn't feel good. Again, I felt, the sales,
But what about the salespeople? Now I'm getting off on a rabbit tangent,
sorry.
but for a second. But what about the salespeople? Because, like if I have 20 salespeople in a room,
Yeah.
they're going to be like, well, I only like to do it my way because and then because they don't really want to learn a process at all. And then they use that like, well, it's my personality and I want to sell like that. Well, yeah, well, that's why you only close at 25% instead of 50%.
Right.
So what do you say to that? Because it's like you kind of were like that, but then it worked for you.
Right,
Because
it
for most
works,
salespeople, it doesn't
correct.
work.
Yeah, if you find a way that works, that is you, great. But you can't not have the results and then go, well, I'm going to do it my way.
Yeah.
Right. Which it's funny. I don't know why I'm thinking of this, but this came up yesterday in Ottawa. So we're very process driven. Like we know, right? We know the EOS world, Pinnacle, all this stuff, right? You have to have a process, but the way you execute the process is what matters. And so I was trying to think of a pop culture thing. I like to use a lot of just regular normal life analogies. And some of you listening to this probably have seen this, The Greatest Night in Pop. It's maybe one of the best documentaries I've ever seen on Netflix about We Are the World.
Yeah, I saw it. Yeah, it was awesome. Yeah.
So
It was really cool seeing all those guys in a room together.
it's amazing. And it's the microcosm of everything I teach with the one size fits none stuff. If you don't know the story, again, Quincy Jones is the producer, director. Michael Jackson, Lionel Richie wrote We Are the World, right, in 2 weeks.
And they got all these famous
2
people.
weeks.
They got all these like up and coming
47 people.
Yeah. That we all know
Most
their
in the
names.
world, they had one night to record this. One. So American Music Awards, 1985, January, ended at 10 p.m. They flew people in, and then the people who were already at the awards went to the studio at 11 p.m. They recorded the song from 11 p.m. to 8 a.m. But as you know, 47 different artists, and everybody had their little solo piece, and then there was a chorus.
Yeah. And they're all alpha males and alpha women. And they all have their own ways to do stuff.
Correct.
Yeah.
But what did not happen, which is what happens to salespeople all the fucking time, is Quincy Jones didn't go, hey, Bruce, you know that scratchy, raspy shit you have in your voice? I don't really think you should do it that way. Can you sing this like Michael Jackson? What do you mean? Well, he's the number one artist in the world, so just do it like him. Yeah, that's not what happened. And he didn't say to Cyndi Lauper, hey, can you not like yell as much? And can you do it like Steve Perry? And he didn't say to Bob Dylan, hey, Bob, you know that mumbly shit? That's probably not gonna work here.
Yeah.
And one of the coolest parts in the documentary, Bob Dylan's struggling because he doesn't think he's in the class.
He's good enough.
Right.
Yeah.
And you see people come and put their arm around him. Like, it's really pretty wholesome to watch. Then when they say, Bob, just be you, bro. And he opens up and he does a great job on the song. Every person has to sing the lyrics. That's the process. But they sing it in their own voice. That's what made the magic. And I think the best part of that, so it's Huey Lewis, Cyndi Lauper, Kim Carnes in this one section of the song. And at the end, Huey Lewis, Cyndi Lauper, Kim Carnes, Cyndi Lauper, for some unknown reason, just ad-libs and leans into the microphone and just goes, yeah, 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 just like an ad-lib. And they cut. And she's like, I'm so sorry. Oh my God, right? In an awful New York accent. And all the artists are like, that was amazing. But that was not written. She just ad-libbed. She was allowed to be creative. And it's a hugely important part of the song. And that's what sales is about. You have to give people individuality and autonomy and creativity, because you might never get to know that thing. If you roboticize it, it's just not going to work. And so it's such a great analogy.
So the day that the word contrarian came out of your mouth, when was that? How long ago?
Probably a year and a half ago. I worked with a great guy. I met Gare Maxwell through the Vistage and tech community, and he's a branding guy. And we, had a great connection. We just think the same, and read one of his books, Big Little Legends. And I said, hey man, I'd really love to work with you on this brand thing, because he's just a very smart guy. And we started developing what are you, who are you, and all this thing. And that's sort of how it all came about. And I don't remember if he or I came up with it, but together.
Because that wasn't a word that you used before in the past at all. So that's what's really cool about it, because I think it's a perfect, when I get to know you and I get to talk to you, it's like, man, that's so perfect, because that's exactly what you are. But it's not a word that we use in the English language a lot, the contrarian, because it sounds like a fancy way for it to be like an adversary or an opposite or like something like that. It's kind of a weird word. But what's a couple sales cliche things? I know you mentioned a couple, but what's a couple that you just hate with your whole soul? Like something that the gurus out there that teach that you just can't stand.
I mean, the always be closing dog shit. I mean, that's got to be at the top of the list, right?
Yeah. And you're not a big Alec Baldwin fan.
It's funny though, but if y'all know the Glengarry Glen Ross stuff, right?
Well, that's one of the greatest sales movies of all time.
In casting, and you probably know this, you've seen stuff in Hollywood. So in casting, right, they go through a bunch of people and they got to find the perfect, whatever, right? So the casting directors for Glengarry Glen Ross were like, hey, we really have to find a prick, like a real asshole. And all of them at the same time said, how about Alec Baldwin? So that's how that casting happened. But you see that scene and you're like, this is awful. Like, I drive an $80,000 car. What do you drive, right? You see this watch? Like, I just want to punch him in the face, because no legitimate salesperson would ever look up to Blake and go, I want to be like him, right? And that whole movie is what started this always be closing crap, and look at my car and look at my watch, and you can't see my soul, obviously, because I don't have one.
But do you think they did that movie though for fun though, right?
Yeah, I think the movie's funny.
Like they did it to they were the original contrarian.
Yeah, I think.
But then everyone that watched it was like, oh, I want to be like that.
Correct. I want to do that, right? And there were people who used to show that scene in sales meetings, right? And be like, let's do this.
Well, because they were selling swampland.
Right.
Like they were literally like, everything in that movie is the exact opposite of what you want.
Leads are weak.
You're weak.
It's
Love that movie.
It's still a funny scene.
Oh.
But then what exacerbated that, right? So the next one, some of y'all will know this, right, is Boiler Room.
Oh.
Right? Which, and that, again, another great movie, but just a point of reference. At the end of the year, when the feds show up, right, that's not a good end of the quarter. Just a heads up.
Yeah, like Wolf of Wall Street, same
and
way.
That's the third one, right? You got a convicted felon fraud, little Napoleon, right, who thinks, and it's funny. Guy goes to federal prison, and companies go, maybe he can teach our salespeople how to.
Tonality.
Right?
Straight line selling. Come on, man.
Yeah, there's 10 million things, right? Let's pretend let me put on a fake stutter. All of this, the feel, felt, found, right? Which is 1960s shit. I saw another.
You don't think that still works?
Oh my God.
Come on, man.
I saw another sales.
I understand how you feel.
Don't be dumb. So I have another sales trainer. The guy, he goes, you know what works? You gotta say their name 6 times. If you say the name 6 times, but it's a 38%. So Benny, hey, it's nice to meet you, Benny. So Benny, have you ever thought about Benny New Roofing, Benny? Okay, fuck off. Like,
Fast talk.
Just be a normal person. It's not that hard. It's not that hard.
What's it look like when a real human shows up in sales conversations then?
Oh God,
Just tell me, give me an example of like what that looks like.
The prospects they can't fathom it. Their brains freeze. I had, this is probably like 6 months ago, but a guy reached out. He's like, hey, we're interviewing, sales consultants, whatever. And your name came up and, I'd love to talk to you. So I talked to him. And at the end, I'm like, hey, so if you want to talk, great. If not, cool, right? Thanks for your time, Will. He goes, that's it? I go, what do you mean? He goes, you're not going to try to close me? I go, I don't even want you as a client. Why would I try to close you?
That was the takeaway.
No,
close.
but it was just me being honest.
That's the Grant Cardone takeaway close.
Yeah, that's fake. Right, that's fake, because he'll take anyone, anytime, with any amount of currency. So it just came up, right? And he goes, what's that mean? I go, well, it's not going to work, because I'm not the right guy. And he was just in shock. And he's like, Steve, you are the only one of 11 people I've talked to that didn't try to close me. And he's like, I'm going to be reaching back out to you. So it fries people's brains, right? When the objection thing we were talking about at coffee, someone's like, I got to talk to my wife, right? And this is what salespeople are taught, especially in like the home service world. I got to talk to my wife, right? So the salesperson goes, well, geez, Jim, you're a pussy. That's basically what they're saying. Yeah. But what they don't.
When's the last time you needed your wife to make the
What
decision?
they actually do, right, is go, does your wife ask you when she gets her nails done? You fucking dick, right? They do this condescending stuff, right? Did you ask your wife when you bought your new golf clubs? I bet you didn't. So why do you have to ask your wife now, right?
Yeah, well, as soon as that triggers sales resistance.
Yeah, being an asshole, yes, it should trigger resistance. So like, whenever people give these objections, like it's too expensive, or I got to talk to the board, or whatever, when I tell them what I say, salespeople are like, you say that? I'm like, yeah.
Sorry, I got to talk to my wife. What do you say?
Okay.
Then what?
That's it.
See you next week?
That's it. And they're so...
What happens? What happens if another closer... But what happens when another closer comes in before next week and then closes them because they forgot about you?
That's scarcity mindset. I'm not worried.
Yeah, just checking.
Yeah. No, and because they have never heard a salesperson say that.
You just...
So then,
I'm not a big... So I would say okay. I would always agree, but then I would always try to find out where, because I'm sure I would still, and maybe this is because I'm still old school, classically trained, and I'm trying to get it out of my system, and maybe we'll just do this right here on my own podcast. I would still say, well, let's hypothetically say she was here. What do you think she would say?
yeah, what is he, Nostradamus? How the fuck?
I mean, I don't know. You know what your wife's gonna. I mean, like you've been married a while. Like I know what my wife's gonna say.
Yeah, well, that's.
I really do know.
First of all, who are you to even ask that?
I don't know. I'm just asking. Just
You're
curious.
a stranger, so I'm not interested in telling you the dynamics between me and my wife.
Well, I'm not asking. I'm just saying, what do you think she's most concerned about?
Yeah, but it's none of your business.
The color, the payment,
That's all salesy bullshit. So I'll tell you the first. So this is in Dallas, like 6 months ago at an EOS event, and I met this guy Mike, and we talked about my million veteran mission, and
yeah, we're gonna get to that.
Yeah, wanting to help.
That's gonna be a big deal.
So Mike is a Marine, and he's a consultant now, and he works with veterans that have PTSD, right? So he's a consultant, helps them, and so he's like, man, he goes, I struggle sometimes because I'm expensive, right? And we're just having beers, and he goes, how would you handle that? I'm like, you want to do this right now? He's like, yeah, we're just having beers. I'm like, all right, let's role play. So we do this thing, right? And Mike does his thing, and the prospect goes, man, Mike, you're really expensive, dude. And he's $7,500 for a service. So it's just not crazy money. And he always goes into, well, what else have you spent $7,500 on? Or what's your mental health worth? Isn't it more than that? Just the worst stuff ever. So I'm like, Mike, I want you to try something different. The next time you have this conversation, just say, okay. He goes, that's it? I go, that's it. So I still have the LinkedIn message from him. So the next day, he's a big, long message. He goes, bro, you have no idea how thankful I am for you. He goes, I tried it, and it worked. And I said, what happened? And he said, well, the guy said, man, $7,500, that's a lot of money, bro. And Mike goes, okay. just didn't say anything. And we all know the silence thing, right?
First one to talk loses.
Right. But
Come on.
Not psychotic silence, like Dexter shit, right? Just like a few seconds.
Not like Steve Heroux for the first 18 years of his life,
not
silence.
That, little less. So he didn't say anything. And the guy goes, but you're really good, right? And Mike goes, yes. The guy goes, let's do it. If he'd have done the feel, felt, found crap, yes ladders, just get them to say yes 5 times, and then they'll say, yeah, it's like, just nod
Lean
your
over the
head.
pen, press hard, there's 3 copies.
The head nod, if you nod your head like, no, you're a psychopath, they'll call the police. So he tried it and it worked. So the reason it works is because a prospect doesn't even know what to do. Then they will either say, sure, let's go, or, well, my kid just went to college, so I just don't have the money. They will tell you what the real objection is. So when you just say, that's fine, okay, they don't even know how to react, and then they'll tell you the real reason, or they'll move forward, right? And it's the same thing in closing, right? You got these dumbass, fake gurus giving you their stupid closing questions, or the old school, like, would there be anything preventing us from moving forward today? Yeah, you mainly. But other than that, there's no closing, right? Closing is for terrible salespeople. Okay?
I agree with that.
When you're good in sales, and you know this because you're good in sales, the prospect tells you, when do we put the roof on, bro? When do we get started, right? How do I pay? That's when you know you're good, not these dumbass closing questions.
Are you the one that teaches where do we go from here? Or do you teach
That's a
something
good
different?
one, yeah. And I think like,
What'd you say? Because I just had you talk to some guys down in Florida. What?
yeah, so
you
where do
said
we go
something.
from here?
Did you say that?
Yeah, it's like a combination. I learned that Dave had a similar sort of thing, and a couple other had a similar use. I don't know where it came from, and maybe it's an old mentor, another sales trainer I learned it from, but I love that, and I still use it today. I'm just at the end, I'm like, cool, man, where do we go from here? And they'll either say, let's do it, or I got to talk to my, or whatever. They'll give you the real reason why. And so I love that.
So I want to get into this comedy thing because I think I'm not as savvy with the whole Larry David thing. I never watched Curb Your Enthusiasm. I did watch Seinfeld.
Yeah.
But I do understand, Larry David's humor and things like that. And I've seen clips and all this stuff.
Your wife at breakfast today.
Oh, she loves
playing
Curb.
with the kids.
Oh,
So there was an episode where Larry yelled at a guy on the golf course. The guy ended up having a heart attack. So they say you killed him because he lost his. But anyway, and Brent's like, I love Larry David. Is that Larry David? I'm like, it is.
Yeah, she loves Larry David. So tell me like this whole, if sales like had its own Curb Your Enthusiasm, if it was Curb Your Enthusiasm sales edition.
Yeah.
Okay, I want to have some fun. Yeah. What's an absurd thing that you would make fun of in like episode 1? Like what would be your opening episode?
Well, I can actually go to and quote the episode, The Car Salesman, which is just hilarious. So,
but if you had to make your own show and you were going to do something different, like what would you do right now, thinking about it on the spot?
It wouldn't necessarily be Curb, but I've always thought about this idea of if you could take the same prospect and like each of us, right, would have to sell to them.
Oh.
Right. Almost like a survivor.
And you can almost like have all the gurus do it,
Right.
and then you do it,
Correct.
and then just like,
Yeah. Who would win?
And then almost have commentators.
Correct.
Like that would be
Yeah,
like,
I've always had that. Like,
That would
because
be
I
fun.
do that when I watch some of
what
these.
would be the situation though, like that you could like have fun with?
But it would be a selling situation of some kind of thing.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
I'm
We'll make
selling
up
to
one. Make up a
Cody,
selling make up a selling situation that you think is just so absurd that people do out there. And I know you shed a light on a couple of them earlier.
I do see.
Is there anything else though that's in your repertoire that you want to like make fun of right now?
No, when we watch the door-to-door guys, because some of them put their stuff, on IG or whatever. Right?
Yeah.
If you've seen.
Oh yeah,
They
door to
film
door
it,
is
right?
big in the roofing industry.
They film it.
Yeah.
Right? And they film it, and then they film like. I remember one, and he goes, "Man, this guy threatened to shoot me. It was great. Like, you fucking idiot. That's not cool. Like, you refusing to leave someone's property so they get their shotgun. Yeah, that's not a badge of honor. Or you got these other door-to-door.
The ones that say no solicitation, but we solicited.
Oh,
We're not here soliciting.
Right. Yeah, we're not. These relentless douchebags, right, who have no respect for people's property. So then you've got the people who fake put on a construction jacket. This is taught. You put on an orange.
Oh yeah, you gotta get noticed. It's called awareness.
Right.
Yeah,
No,
you look important. You're trying to scare someone into answering the door.
Yeah, it's called immorality and no integrity is what it's called. But when you fake that you're the telephone pole repairman,
Yeah, you put a hard hat on too.
right? I mean, what happened to those people to think that is something you should do? It's really sad. But I think a lot of these young kids are just taken advantage of. Because they don't know the ways of the world yet. And I think most of them are going to end up regretting just being a fake, phony human. And you don't have to do that. Like, you just don't have to do that. One of the things I actually taught this solar company in the pandemic. So they still had to do all their door-to-door stuff, right? But you had to stand 6 feet,
6 feet angle away.
Right. They still had to do that,
non-threatening,
right?
yeah.
So they would all try to think what to do, and they weren't getting as many appointments, whatever, because you had to have a mask on. So I'm like, hey guys, I go, because you have to be able to see people's smiles. If you can't see, there's no point.
Yeah, you look like a terrorist.
Right.
Literally.
Like, why don't you guys wear clear shields? Like, what do you mean? Go wear those shields. So
Yeah, like
people
medical,
actually see.
like
Right.
Yeah, like, I feel like the doctors do that.
Right. And they go, I don't want to look stupid. I go, you haven't sold shit in 3 months. That looks pretty stupid. Try the shield. So, so they went to Shields, and it was something like 30% more appointments or something like that, 20 or 30%, because people could see them smiling. It's just very small thing. But those are the things that, like, when I see situations and I'm like, man, it would be good to commentate, right, on that. Like, oh, here's where Jeff went for the feel, felt, found. It would be fun to actually comment on that.
What else do I want to talk about? There's one other thing that I think is important. I think it relates to maybe, I don't know if we're allowed to talk about this, but you're working on a new project about data and goals and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And salespeople.
Yeah.
And again, I'm guilty of this too, because I just didn't know another way. But
Yeah.
when you said stuff, it's just like, oh, it's so click. The whole Tom Brady thing and the whole NFL analogy. Because I know, hey, sir, you should sell $1.5 million in roofing, $10,000 average ticket.
Yeah.
You should sell 150 jobs. You're gonna if you're gonna close at 30%, you're gonna have to need 450 ups or leads or whatever you want to call them.
Let's reverse engineer.
Yeah.
You
All right.
1,000 calls.
Yeah. And so every salesperson that's listening right now, that's the way they think about it.
I know.
Every single one of them.
Yeah.
But then when you give me your whole Tom Brady thing, it makes so much sense because it's like Bill Belichick didn't tell Tom Brady you got to go out and throw for 4 touchdowns and 385 yards and only one interception. Like you would take that every day if the guy threw for 4 touchdowns, 1 interception, 350 yards. Like that would be a great day. Yeah. But no one does that in the NFL. But we do it as salespeople and sales managers.
This is so dumb. Look at Skeens, your boy here, right?
Yeah, that is, dude. He is our boy.
He's a guy.
Dude, he's making $875,000 a year,
Well,
and he just got $2.5 million bonus for the Cy Young. Dude, that dude he's living it up right now.
Listen, dude, he's gonna make $50 million.
He's going to be
gets this next.
And he wants to play in New York too.
Yeah, I mean,
he's a Yankee. He's already calling it out.
He's a generational talent, right? But if you just think about Skeens, like whoever his manager is going to be, they don't go up to Paul and go, "Hey, Paul, let me give you your quota for today."
10 strikeouts.
Yeah. Wait. So
1 walk.
So last month, right? So last month, you had 9 strikeouts. You gave up 3 hits and 1 run. So today, hold on.
0.9 runs.
9 strikeouts times 12% more. There's no fucking reason why I'm doing it. But let's just add 12% and so 10.3 strikeouts today. That's your quota. Okay, that's never happened ever and would never happen ever. And all Skeens tries to do is execute the first pitch. And then he tries to execute the second pitch. And then the third pitch. That's what he does. That's why the kid wins Cy Youngs. It's not because of some stupid goal or some quota.
So how do salespeople, how do sales managers, how do owners, how do salespeople even, like how do we reconstruct that? And I know that you're going to say, input, track the activity, right? Track the practice, right? Track, what do you call it?
DPIs.
DPIs. Tell me what that means.
So in baseball, right, or a DPI is a daily performance indicator, right? And it's sorry, Blue Jays fans, but this is why you lost the World Series and the freaking evil Dodgers won. When you don't execute, you lose. And when you're not focused on executing the basics, and this is why I loved Kobe so much. And on a podcast in like 2014, someone asked Kobe, like, hey, why are you the best player in the world? And he said, because I never get bored with the basics. Like all he cared about was just executing, right? The elbow jumper. Like that's it. Kobe didn't go into games going, you know what my goal is today? 33. Fans do that crap, not pros, right? Kobe goes into the game thinking, I'm going to kill this guy, right? I am going to eat him for breakfast and I'm going to execute. I'm going to dribble where I want. I'm going to get to my spot. And sometimes they don't go in. And by the way, it's funny. Another reporter asked him this a few years later. They go, hey, Kobe, you know, you set another record today. Y'all can look it up. Kobe's taking off his shoes or whatever. He's like, oh, what record is that? He goes, you now have the most missed shots in the history of the NBA. This actually happened. And Kobe said something like, get the fuck out of here. We're like, what? Really? Pros don't think about numbers, right? They think about, I'm going to execute and the numbers will take care of themselves. And in a sales setting or in a baseball setting, it's a quality at bat. What's a quality at bat? Don't swing at a pitch out of the strike zone. Take a strike. Move the runner over, right? Execute a bunt. It's not about hitting home runs, okay? The guys that try to hit home runs strike out. The guys that try to execute at bats like Shohei Ohtani, who, by the way, 4th unanimous MVP, which is just insane, right? People talk about Shohei Ohtani. If you don't know who he is, people compare him to Babe Ruth, guy in the Dodgers. He's 100 times better than Babe Ruth, okay? Babe Ruth is playing against fat plumbers, okay? Ohtani is playing against the best in the world. And he pitches like but all he cares about is quality at bats. He's said it multiple times and he's done things 8 times that have never been done in human history. So that's the idea behind Kobe.
Yeah. And so I'm assuming your whole book is going to be all about that.
Yeah.
That's going to be cool. Because I think that's a very contrarian way.
It is. People think I'm nuts. And it's like when we teach this.
So what do we put on the scorecard?
So
like the activities.
So I came up with something called the Daily 100.
Yeah.
So the Daily 100 is a point value. In a day, there's 100 points available, let's say. And each activity is worth a specific point value. So you make a door knock, you do a phone call, send an email. That's 1 point. Anybody can do that. You write your 2 handwritten thank you notes today. That's 5 points. You did your 15 minutes of study today. That's 10 points. You role played today. That's 15 points. So a salesperson is seeing progress. And I learned this from Daniel Pink, who's amazing. But the single biggest factor in growth is progress, right? Seeing progress. And when your brain sees you're advancing your cause, it tells you, you rock, keep going, you're awesome. When your brain sees nothing, there is no movement, there is nothing. It tells you, what are you doing this for? And it stops you. Reason number 9,000, goals are done.
2 more things. I want to know, first of all, at the end, I want to hear all about this million veteran mission that you have, because I think people are going to really love that. But you have a new course that just came out.
Yeah.
Not a lot of people know about it yet because you're just putting the finishing touches on it. But tell me why.
18 months of hard work.
But tell me why this course is a course that every salesperson or every leader needs to take.
And I know this is going to sound like a dumb answer, but I don't know that everybody needs to or should or whatever, because just some people don't have the same disposition, which is fine. But I think it's for the salespeople who do want to put the needs of others first, right? It's for the salespeople who want to become better humans, better dads, better moms, right? Better parents.
What do they call that? Altruistic?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's
on the OMG, we're looking for an altruistic guy.
Yeah. Altruistic, intrinsic.
Yeah.
And I just take so much pride in it. And I don't know if I told you this in the car, but I have a window guy did a big talk for this big famous window company. And one of the guys writes to me, he's like, hey man, I'm 66 years old. Like you've given me a new lease on life. And that's why I do what I do. So it's for people who want to sell in a human way. Again, the Daniel Pink, to sell is human type of thing. But understand that sales is about communication. It's about giving back. It's about understanding. It's about asking great questions like those ones we talked about in the coffee shop. It's not about selling stuff. Like, it's just not.
It's like a podcast.
It's similar. Like, all of you golfers, I've been reading a lot up about Scotty Scheffler, and he made a comment this summer about he doesn't care about winning. And the whole press and everyone's like, what's wrong with this guy? Like, he won $60 million 2 years ago. He only won $30 million this year.
Only.
Right. And he's like, if I win the British, after I win a Masters, like 5 seconds after I walk off the green, like my wife's there and my son, I don't even think about it. I don't even care. People are just like, what? Because he doesn't care.
Not attached to the outcome.
No, not at all. And that's we teach this, right? Detach from outcomes is why I'm such a big believer in Stoic philosophy.
Well, then you don't have commission breath then.
No.
You don't get greedy.
No.
It's like you're just doing what you're called to do.
That's it. Some people will buy stuff, some people won't. You guys even know this in sports, right? You can have the shittiest game in history and still win. And you can have an amazing game and lose, right? You could hit the shit out of a drive. You could hit it 320 and it bounces off a sprinkler head and into the trap. Does that mean you hit a bad shot? No. But in sales, you're told you did, right? And that's the craziest thing. And we were talking about fishing earlier. It's my favorite thing in the world to do, right? I'd rather be fishing than doing this. No offense.
We're at the Big Fish Cares podcast.
Like,
so.
I could fish all day, every day, not get a nibble.
Not here though when it's cold out though, right?
I still
you like cold fishing? Well, you want to go move to Minneapolis or
Anything.
something like that.
I would,
one of the 10,000 lakes every day.
I would fish anywhere, anytime, and I cannot control the fish. And in Minnesota, I went fishing with this guy, fly fishing for smallmouth, and we get there, it's like 5 a.m, and I always take a guide, right? Because I'm not just going to throw a fly in the water and hope a trout bites it. So
fancy fishing.
It's hard, but it's fun because it's difficult.
Yeah, when you're good at sales, you can take a guide with you.
Yeah, it's like $400. It's not expensive, right? So I get there. His name's Josh. I'm like, hey, buddy, I'm excited today. It's going to be fun. I never went fly fishing for smallmouth on the Mississippi. This will be great. Here you go. And I gave him $100 for his tip.
Pre-tip.
Yep.
Yeah.
He goes, what is this? Oh, your tip. Why? What are you doing? I go, are we going to spend the next 6 hours together? Yeah. You're going to change out my fly and try to put us on something? Yeah. You're going to make sure if I get this stuck in the tree, you're going to get it out? Yeah. That's what it's for. He couldn't even fathom the concept because he takes people fishing for 6 hours, busts his ass. They don't catch a lot of fish. They don't tip him. Then he's like, man, I can't even thank you for the lesson you taught me today. We stayed out for 8 hours. It was a 6-hour trip. Stayed out for 8. We probably caught 45 smallmouth. So again, being attached to outcomes, you get crappier outcomes. When you don't try to catch fish, you catch lots of fish. It's the same in sales, right? Anybody can smell that commission breath crap. Like, you try to hit a golf ball 350, I promise you it ain't going 350. Try to hit home runs, you're not hitting home runs. It's the same philosophy in sales.
That's gold right there. All right, tell me about so where do they get the Sales Contrarian course at?
So,
and how it's cheap, right? It's not even that expensive.
Yes, no, I mean, like,
it's like $1,000, right?
Yeah,
$2,000.
Yeah, it'll be ready December 1st. And like the main, it's funny, thanks to Garen, so many people on my team, the salescontrarian.com, which is funny.
You gotta learn how to spell that for most of the salespeople. So like you have to,
THE, sales, SALES.
It's the contrarian part that gets us.
Yeah, contrarian. Yeah. But it's funny, like someone asked this too about my mission, my nonprofit. Just a random stranger yesterday in Ottawa in one of my talks, like, why are you giving back? Like, why are you doing this for the military?
Yeah. How are you attached to the military? How are you connected with that?
So the Million Veteran Mission, which is my nonprofit, is going to teach 1 million veterans how to sell, right? With honesty and integrity, humility and authenticity. Because we have 200,000 servicemen and women that come back into civilian life every year, 200,000. And many of them don't know what they want to do. And they have discipline and guts and courage and honor and all those things, but no one's really taught them.
Yeah. Someone telling them no at the living room table isn't really going to hurt their feelings that much.
They can handle that, but they don't have the sales skills.
Right.
And so I'm giving access to all my contrarian selling content to veterans for life for free. And Gary Sinise is a huge,
Lieutenant Dan.
yeah, he's just one of the greatest humans ever. Like two people named Gary, who I'm inspired by, obviously your buddy Gary V and Gary Sinise, but a couple inspirations. My uncle Charlie, who spent years in the military, came back and he couldn't even get an appointment right at the VA. He really needed help, but he did this. We just do not do enough, right, for these heroes. And then we have veterans on our team. We have one of my friends and coworkers, Janae, her husband, Zach, who's decorated Marine, a SEER instructor of the year in the Marine Corps, like the stuff that he did to protect our country. He's an inspiration behind it. Raleigh Wilkins, a guy unfortunately took his life, right? We have 18 to 22 veterans who take their own lives every day. I met him. He heard me on a podcast, ironically, 4 or 5 years ago. He was like, hey man, I love what you're doing. Would you be willing to help these cohorts of veterans, right, that I'm trying to get sales jobs for? And so I gave them all my stuff for free. And one day on LinkedIn is just like a black, background with white writing. I'm like, what is this? And he had taken his life. And I'm like, what? We got to help these people, right? Because they don't know what to do when they come back into the real world. And so it's been amazingly rewarding. A few of these heroes have already been through, the pilot version of contrarian selling. And one guy, Justin, is like the decorated Iraqi war hero. And he's the first few lessons. And he's like, bro, you have no idea how valuable this is to me, because he started a nonprofit to help vets as well. He's like, I never would have learned any of this.
Well, it's just great communication, even if they're not going to be in hardcore sales, I guess. Like even just the communication side of it.
So that's one.
Is going to be so.
That's one of the lessons: how to be a dynamic communicator.
Because I would assume in the military, at the end of the day, they're getting talked to most of the time.
It's drill sergeant-y
in
a lot of places, but we know, right, the command and control thing doesn't really work in sales. But if they're used to that, that's maybe what they think. And so the stuff that I teach in contrarian selling is not that.
Well, and sales has such a bad rap. It's like a bad connotation, right? It's like,
I got to tell you this. I can't believe it. So maybe 2 months ago, I'm getting my new Amex card for it's a Million Veteran Mission, if I need to use it. And the girl, the customer service rep for Amex, she's like, I know you. I go, what? So I know you. And I'm thinking like this ex-girlfriend or whatever, right? She goes, your book got me through the pandemic. I'm like, what do you mean? She goes, you wrote Sales is Not a Dirty Word. That was my first book. I go, how do you got that? It's like, I love it. I'm like, well, thanks. At least I found the person that bought it. So thank you. And she's like, it's so great. She's like, it's an honor talking to you. It's a random American Express person. And so even though very few people bought the book, that one person was impacted. So same with veterans. We just do not do enough for these heroes, these women and men who risk their lives so we can live in this amazing country. If I help one, right, that's more than I would have helped before. So whether it's 1 million or 2 million or 12 or 273, I just want to help veterans. And so thanks again for all of the support I'm getting, all these organizations that are reaching. It's pretty amazing. So very fulfilling.
Awesome. What is one thing that Steve Heroux still is learning and or still wrestling with?
One thing. I think it's not reacting in a emotional way to things. And it's a really good practice that I do my best to execute. Sometimes I fail. But when I'm upset or get pissed off or whatever, it's funny, my team is like, you write the best fuck you emails of anyone I've ever seen without saying that to someone. But sometimes I do write an angry email and I don't send it. So I I physically write out the
draft. Yeah, it just stays in drafts.
It makes me feel better. And then I read it. I'm like, you almost sent this. And it really helps me. But I do still struggle with that. If I get upset about something, or it might be something small, and I make it a much bigger deal than it really is. And I don't think that helps me and my team. Because if I just, do the proverbial fly off the handle, and it's not really about them, and I'm taking it out on them.
Yeah,
so I really have to work on that. I'm actively working on it, but I fail.
Do you know what one thing has helped me with that? Because I'm the same way.
Yeah.
Is my little pocket companion called ChatGPT. So now I angrily vent into this. Can you believe they said this? Or I'll copy the email, paste it, and here's why this person's like this, and this is what I want to say. Write it as angry as you can. I'm like, oh, that's good. And all right, now write it in a way that's going to help us get to this type of solution.
You know what was funny?
And then it's like a training. It's almost like my own therapist. Like it's just real time.
I had a real therapist yesterday, actually, when I was stuck in Ottawa, and I was so frustrated because, again, just this week for travel, just let's say it's not gone well. And so I'm stuck in Ottawa again, thinking I'm going to miss the flight here. And the people behind the desk at United were very good, these young ladies. And I was complaining, this says it's supposed to be here. I'm being a typical stupid traveler.
First world problems.
Right. Yeah. So then the girl behind the counter, she's like, do you want a hug? I'm like,
say Southwest. Come on.
Right. I didn't take it. But I'm like, finally, someone who actually cares. Like, it was pretty awesome. And then I went and saw her and thanked her afterwards. But I'm like, that's what sometimes we need. And so maybe I do have to type something into ChatGPT, and hopefully ChatGPT goes, you're right. That guy is an asshole. So give me some validation for writing that email.
There you go.
But that's something I do have to constantly work on. So team, I'm working on it.
Well, it's been awesome. Thanks for this time. Thanks for coming all the way to Pittsburgh. Oh, yeah. And I know you have some friends here, so it kind of made it nice too. But this is a great way to wrap up, season 3 on the Big Fish Cares podcast. I don't know if I told anybody about this. This is probably the last episode. Now there might be a bonus episode. It's not confirmed yet. There's a special author out there writing a book that's coming out in December, and I'm trying to get him on the show. But if it doesn't work out, this is going to be the last episode. If that works out, we might crank one more in for the end of the year. But man, it's been great getting to know you. I'm looking forward to the next couple of days. You're going to actually get me to a football game, which, I don't watch sports anymore since that whole COVID pandemic, all that crap that was NFL was done. I was like, Well,
Steelers and Browns still suck.
Well, the Browns really suck. So.
And the Bengals. So
thanks for being here.
Thanks, man.
Thank you for listening to the Big Fish Cares podcast.